Welcome to part two of global resources. Today we're having a look at the unsustainable use of natural resources. So we've already learned about the global resources in the world and how developed and developing countries are using them. And we've also had a look at renewable and non-renewable resources. So today we're going to further that and look at how we are unsustainably using natural resources. First, we'll just do some recapping from your Year 7 work and have a look at the biosphere. So if you have a look at the picture on your right, you'll see that the biosphere is actually where all the living things are found. So it includes, the water, the plants, birds in the air, and things that live in the soil. And most of the planet's life is actually found from the height of 3 meters below the ground to about 30 meters above the ground, and that's what we call the biosphere. So what we're having a look at is how we are affecting the biosphere. Within our biospheres are ecosystems, and you've probably heard this word before, but ecosystems are systems of living organisms, so that includes plants and animals and people, as well as all the physical parts of the environment, such as the water and the sun, weather and climate. So all living things interact with each other in their environments, and that's what we're talking about with ecosystems. And they're in danger of being destroyed due to misuse by humans. The main issues with our ecosystems today are salinity, which is excess salt in the system, soil erosion, deforestation or pulling down of extra trees, and polluted water. When we're having a look at the misuse of resources, there's three particular areas we want to have focus on. The first one is the human impact, so what we are actually doing. Then we're having a look at how we are unsustainably consuming things, and then how we are unsustainably wasting things as well. So it's looking at the physical impact, the consumption, and the waste. First up, we'll have a look at human impacts. So, unsustainable use of resources by humans has got a huge impact on the environment. The main things we're focusing on is water quality and quantity, so how good the water is and how much of it. That's actually declining. We've got more and more air pollution from industry and cars and acid rain, and that's contributing to more greenhouse gas emissions. Then our soil is actually eroding as well, and plant and animal numbers are falling too. It's interesting to note that once the soil goes, it actually takes between 100 and 2,500 years to replace it. So all of that erosion we're having due to new buildings being built and chemicals, that's actually, that soil won't be produced now in our lifetime. Unsustainable consumptions means that we're using natural resources faster than they can be replaced. Remember, we talked about sustainability and we talked about how that means that we're using things now responsibly so that they will still be around for people later. So that unsustainable consumption means that we're using them faster than they can actually be replaced. And we see that with our habitats being destructed, so where animals live, the exploitation of resources and pollution. All these things have actually destroyed many ecosystems and animal and plant species. While we're talking about habitat destruction, the World Wildlife Fund, who look after wildlife, actually see that forest loss is actually being mostly caused by expanding agricultural land, so where they're growing plants, intensive harvesting of timber, which we use for buildings, wood for fuel, and other forest products as well. The other problem with our forests is that they're actually clearing land to put animals on them, so that's overgrazing. So half of the world's original forests have disappeared, and they're still being removed at a rate of 10 times higher than they can actually regrow these. Humans also have had a huge impact on marine natural resources, and that's due to population growth, building more buildings closer to the sea, and a lot of problems actually, particularly in the barrier reef, are being caused by tourism. So one example of habitats being destroyed is the orangutans in Borneo. So if you have a look at the map there, it's actually showing you the amount of forest. So the green part was the amount of forest. So you've got in 1950, most of Borneo was actually covered by trees, and then 1985 they started to log even more, 2005, you'll notice that the green's missing, and then 2010, a lot of their forests have actually been destroyed. So 80% of Indonesia's forests have actually been logged in the past 25 years, which has affected the orangutan population. When we're looking at resources being exploited, we're talking about things like oil, which they're predicting will run out in the next 40 to 80 years. The amount of oil that they've been finding has actually been reducing dramatically. Coal's also being exploited, and then we have a lot of marine life, so fish is being exploited by over harvesting, so taking too many, and also illegal fishing. So waste is another huge issue in our environment. And the definition of waste is any leftover material, substance or chemical that doesn't actually have a use. So when that waste goes into the environment, it actually makes the environment unhealthy. It's called pollution, and it affects plants and animals and the water. So pollution can be deliberate, so people just littering and dropping their rubbish around, or it can also occur through a natural event like a volcano. A lot of times industries are actually responsible for causing pollution, and we'll have a look in class at some of the polluted cities in the world. If you look at the diagram on the left, it shows us the pollution that's actually entering into our ocean. So if you think of the circle as being all of the pollution, you'll see that 30% of that is actually sewage, 20% comes from the air pollutants, and then 20% from farm runoff, so that's fertilisers and things coming from farms. You've also got maritime, so ships, you've got industrial waste, oil there as well, and then 5% is litter. So a lot of things going into the ocean, which is making the ocean sick, and then affecting the animal life as well. Some things for you to have a think about over the next few days is, do you actually exploit resources in any way? So make a list of the things that you do that you think you actually are exploiting resources. Also, have a think about how your family's contributing to pollution. So try and make a list, talk to your family about the ways that you're actually contributing to pollution in the world. And also have a look and see if you're trying to reduce your waste in any way. We'll further continue looking at unsustainable use of resources when I see you next.